You're listening to the Dynamic Thinking Project podcast. This is episode 9, and today's topic is paranoia and pronoia. Hey everyone, Adam Muselli here. Welcome to the Dynamic Thinking Project podcast. If this is your first time listening, then thanks for coming. This podcast is released every Friday, and show notes are found at the website themindtechinstitute.com. It's all one word. Come back often and feel free to add this podcast to your favorite RSS feed or iTunes. You can also follow me on Twitter and Facebook. All links are in the show notes and also website. And now, let's get started. Since we got this far in this podcast, this topic is extremely important for you, as in understanding how you think and how others think, and also laying the foundation to at least get familiar with some really crazy upcoming topics. Now, paranoia and pronoia both have existed since humans did, and they are quite the opposite. Let's start first with paranoia. Paranoia is a thought process believed to be heavily influenced by anxiety or fear, often the point of delusion and irrationality. In psychology, and according to the DSM-5-TR, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, which is like the Bible for psychologists and psychiatrists and other related fields. TR, it stands for Text Revision, and 5 is the 5th edition, which I think it was published in the year 2000. I think. Anyway, paranoid thinking typically includes persecutory or beliefs of conspiracy concerning a perceived threat towards oneself. For example, everyone is out there to get me. Now, we're talking about paranoia. However, it's not necessarily from another person towards oneself, but it could be the person himself or herself doing it to themselves. And that's what we call in psychology and in our NLP teaching an internal frame of reference, as the person is creating a scenario in his or her head and believe in it. On the other hand, there is the external frame of reference in which the person believes that there is a person or persons, a group of people, government, even demons or aliens or whatever, is conspiring against him or her or trying to get them. So an external frame of reference is anything that is not the person himself as self-doubt. We'll get to that in a moment. In modern psychology and psychiatry, and according to the DSM-5-TR, paranoia is often diagnosed in 3 categories. The first one is paranoid personality disorder, or what we call PPD. The second one is paranoid schizophrenia, which is a subtype of schizophrenia. And the third one is persecutory type of delusional disorder, which is also called querulous paranoia. No, that's not cureless. Querulous is a Latin word. Querulous paranoia is when the focus of the person is to fix some injustice by legal action or actions. Now, before you put on your judging hat and become Mr. or Miss Perfect and start judging, keep in mind that there are some cases of paranoid people who were found dead. Yes, because no one believed them. And they died from the same cause they feared. And no, it wasn't some sort of placebo-caused death. Those were real cases, such as those who knew something they shouldn't have known, and some real cases of targeted individuals. And yes, I said real cases of targeted individuals, not targeted individuals wannabes. Look them up. I'm sure you'll find tons of them, such as Phil Schneider, such as William Cooper, and recently Max Pierce and Dr. Sebi. And of course, there are many others. They are called conspiracy, but that's a different topic, and maybe we'll have another episode, a whole episode about some of them in the near future. But usually, those people left some notes or called their family, the police, or friends to report some stalking behavior or some suspicious activities around them, but they were denied and they were labeled as paranoid or conspiracy buffs. On the other hand, of course, you have the trolls and the wannabe attention seekers who should have clinical attention rather than social attention. So now we know that paranoia is mostly based on fear. And it's a state of mind in which the person believes that others are trying to harm them. It could be a feeling of being watched, followed, stalked, or monitored in some ways. It might be a belief that there is some kind of conspiracy operating against them. Paranoid people sometimes have an increased sense of self-importance, as those people who they want to be as targeted individuals, so they can go and parade to the world that I am someone important, I know things, and I'm targeted. So those are self-important people who feel like that, and many others believe that are taking notice of them when it's not true. Also, mild paranoid thoughts are quite common in the general population and tend to recover naturally if it's mild paranoid thoughts. That is caused by probably a phase in your life or something that you have done you shouldn't have done, but this is temporary. It's not an ongoing thing. But long-term paranoia can be a symptom of mental disorder or be caused by alcohol and drug abuse, dementia, or other conditions that affect the brain. And of course, can be caused by pharmaceutical drugs. I'm not going to name any drugs now because I don't want to open a can of worms here. So that was paranoia. Now, what is pronoia? Pronoia is a new word that is defined as the opposite state of mind to paranoia, which technically means having the sense that there is a conspiracy that exists to help you or to help the person who experiences or feel pronoia. So, did you spot the differences between the two yet? You see, paranoia is thinking when the world or the universe is conspiring against you. Notice the word, against you. While pronoia is when believing the world or the universe is conspiring for you to help you. Notice, for you, which is pronoia. Paranoia is against you. Pronoia, because you think the world is conspiring for you, hence the term think positive because everything happens for a reason. Now, let's take a deeper look into both of them. And as everything else, everything has two sides. So let's call them the positive and the negative. Paranoia can be positive when it's utilized to be used as something to warn you from dangers or from risks. And it's positive so you can protect yourself or do something about it when you have that feeling of fear or danger. Same as fear is also important when it's balanced and in healthy boundaries. Because if you have no fear, you would walk into a lion's cage and think he's just a cute cat. But you'll find yourself inside the lion's stomach, but it would be too late. However, paranoia can be negative when it becomes delusional or delusion. On a smaller scale is when you're doubting yourself, your friends, your spouse, and those who are close to you. That's on a smaller scale. But on a bigger scale is when you start thinking as there is a whole conspiracy chasing you on a national, international, or universal scale. Especially when it gets to a point of thinking that there are some demons, ghosts, or aliens are there to harm you. Now, why did I say especially when there are demons, ghosts, and aliens? Because it's easier to deal with a paranoid person who think of normal people are chasing him or chasing her than dealing with someone who believes there are some entities or beings that we cannot see are chasing him or her. And of course, that's because it's easier to deal with something that you can see than dealing with something that you cannot see. You feel more vulnerable. And of course, I'm not denying the existence of extraterrestrials or extra-dimensional beings. I mean, I don't have a proof to deny their existence, so I'll keep an open mind until proven otherwise. Back to the subject, and on the other hand, paranoia also has its two sides. The positive side is that you sort of feel a kind of peace and comfort when believing that there is someone or something out there is looking after you and easing your ways for you, easing your paths for you. You feel a beautiful feeling, especially when you find yourself facing obstacles in life. You believe that you're chosen to pass this path for a reason. You may not know what the reason is, but you know it's good for you, and maybe it's good for the universe. You feel blissful. You feel you looked after until you find yourself in a lion's stomach after it's too late. That's the negative side of paranoia. Paranoia, if it's not also well balanced and kept within healthy boundaries, then it's no different than a negative paranoia. It's just a delusion wearing a positive mask. Now, I know lots of airy fairies will hate what I'm gonna say now, but please, drop the mask of your self-righteousness now and just pretend you're a normal human being just like us, just like everybody else who lives in this third-dimensional world where you eat, drink, and then you go to the bathroom to stink. So, just pretend you're a normal human being. Paranoia can become dangerous if it's not properly utilized. Let me say that again. Paranoia can become dangerous if it's not properly utilized, because you might end up being delusional, thinking that you've been chosen to do something where you end up once again in the lion's stomach. I've seen it before. I personally seen it before, where a person who was suffering from a delusional paranoia ended up in the emergency room because he believed that snakes and scorpions will not harm him. Of course, he was quoting from the Bible. He quoted, "Behold, I have given you authority to trample on snakes and scorpions and to overcome all power of enemy, and nothing will harm you." And that was from the book of Luke 10:19. So the poor man, he ended up in the lion's stomach in the emergency room. Another case of paranoia is a person started doing a type of extreme fasting to reach his nirvana, as he claims, and he ended up in the hospital for weeks because of malnutrition. There are a lot of people suffer from paranoia without knowing. Sometimes they aren't in such extreme delusions such as our friend with the snakes and the scorpions. I mean, I hope they are not in such delusions. But even those who believe they can fix the world and its problems by just thinking positive and drinking herbal tea, that is also a form of paranoia. Please check episode 4 for more information about this, and because I don't want to be misunderstood. Episode 4 is really, really a great episode to listen to. And of course, if you're familiar with my work, I am not against positive thinking at all. I'm just a realist person. As a matter of fact, I encourage positive thinking, but that positive thinking which followed by the proper actions, or what we call responsibility. And the word responsibility, the real meaning of the word responsibility is responsibility, or the ability to respond to a situation accordingly. Responsibility, responsibility. Not by just wishful thinking. Once again, please check episode 4. I highly, highly suggest you listen to it if you haven't already. Now, would you like to know where paranoia and pronoia meet in the same place? That would be interesting. Okay. They both meet in religion. Yes. With all my due respect, love, positive, wishful thinking, and positive pronoia to all religions. But yeah, paranoia and pronoia both meet together in religions. And this is how it goes. You commit a sin, you'll be punished, whether here or in the hereafter. So you do not commit that sin, or you don't even think about it. You don't want to do it because you're scared. You don't want to commit a sin because you don't want to deal with it, not here or in the hereafter. And that is paranoia. If you believe in the Lord and put all your faith in Him, you'll be blessed and live a life full of blessings, and even God and His angels will be looking after you with every breath you take. And that is positive pronoia. Praise the Lord. Also in religions, same as anything else, pronoia and paranoia can get real bad. If any of those two or both got out of control, then killing and judging galore. For example, when paranoia starts to kick in religious people, they start taking matters into their own hands. Of course, most religions, each one of them think they are right, and the rest are wrong. Or if they are nice religions, the rest are less right. So they start the cleansing, and if they don't do it, then God will send the wrath on everyone, including them. And that is paranoia. The negative pronoia in religions, when religious people start believing that they are the chosen people and they are better than anybody else. Therefore, nobody else matters but their own group or clan. Now, here's the craziest part, and that is when both negative paranoia and pronoia kicks in the same time with religious people. And that's when they start believing they are the chosen ones, and if you don't believe in our Lord, you will die or you will go to hell. And if you're lucky, you will just get a nasty label in this life, such as you're evil or you're the devil advocate, and other nasty labels based on one of those two P's. I mean, paranoia and pronoia. Now, if you notice that I said when that kicks in religious people, not in religions, because I simply studied most of the world religions in the last 18 years. And I read all their books. And honestly, I didn't find any religion advocate violence or loathe and hate toward others. But it's whoever controls those religions advocate that for an agenda. Now, I know you might think, yeah, but this type of religion, they do encourage violence, they do... No. It's not the religion, or maybe you didn't get it right. But who encourages that is those who control that religion, or that faith, or that type of belief. You see, there is a big conspiracy here, and it's been happening for a very long time. But we will leave that for another episode. That was about paranoia and pronoia. I know this will help you in life in general, and of course it will help you for the upcoming episodes which I am preparing. There are some really crazy stuff, and I really wanted you to know this because sometimes I see people and it sort of bothers me. I see them becoming more naive into this pronoia thing. They start thinking of the angels are protecting them, and they fall into those scams. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Although I'm not denying positive energy. I am not denying any positive and wishful thinking. But what I'm saying is there are proper ways. There are some things to approach those type of thinking. And sadly, I would say they are not available in the Western world. Because sometimes people from the West, from the Western world, they go to the East or they go somewhere else, they learn these things and they come back to sell them in the West, to make money out of them. So that's why I'm saying, I am not against any type of positive teaching, but I am against scams. I am against fooling people, deceiving people. And of course, the people who are deceived, they are responsible for their deception, because deception is a choice and it's up to you if you choose to be fooled or not. And as the Roman maximum, and I already said that in episode 4, the Roman maximum or the Roman law says, let him who wishes to be deceived, be deceived. That's it for today, and thank you for listening. The Dynamic Thinking Project podcast is released every Friday. If you have any questions, you can email me. The email is on our website, themindtechinstitute.com. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. Until next time, take care and enjoy your weekend. This is Adam Muselli signing out.